Hey y'all, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another round of recent reads. I have 12 more books to talk about. I do want to preface this by saying a lot of these books I talked about in my Monster Mash reading vlog, which I will have linked up in the cards and down in the description box. So if you want to see my experience while reading these, you can go check out that reading vlog. I am going to kind of break this down by category. So I'm going to start with the novellas that I did not rate. A lot of these were super short. They were like, 15 to maybe 30 pages long. And I tend to not rate those just because they are so short. And then I have the three other like longer books that I read for that reading vlog, and then the full-length novels that I read. So starting with the unrated novellas, first was Bound by Aveda Weiss, and this is actually a prequel novella to a new series that they are starting, which I'm really excited for. This was ridiculously steamy. This is a consensual non-consent MMF shifter erotica. This is following our heroine, who is a harpy, and she just lost this big battle and she's being broken up with her pack by being married off to a different pack, and it is her and these two shifters traveling and having a very steamy encounter. And I'm really excited for more books in the series, like I said. So that was the first one. I also read A Bump and Boo Hail by Kimberly Lemming, which is a little novella set around Halloween. It is following Cinnamon as she is trying to get back and play a prank on her brother. It was really cute. It was really short. It was like 15 pages or something like that, if that. And I had a good time with it. After that, I read Riding the Headless Horseman by Molly Likovic, and this was a Headless Horseman retelling, and I thought this was totally fine. I'm of the unpopular opinion that I preferred Headless by Aveda Weiss, which I know was super unpopular, but this was really cute. It also takes place around Samhain, around Halloween, and it is a like fated mates insta-lust, insta-love romance with the Headless Horseman, and our heroine is a witch. Then I read Love, Laugh, Lich by Kate Pryor, which was an absolutely ridiculous monster romance that I had such a good time with. It is a workplace demon romance, and it's set in kind of like a post-apocalyptic world where demons have taken over all the power and now run the world. And our heroine isn't falling in love with her boss, who is a lich, and it is their steamy romance. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which I really appreciated. I had such a good time with this one. And then lastly, I read Halloween Boo by Sarah Spade, which was probably my favorite novella. It was so cute. This is a ghost romance. So our heroine moves into a new apartment after moving to a new city, and she finds that her apartment is haunted, and she falls in love with her ghost as he like becomes corporeal on Halloween, and they have a magical 24 hours together, and it was absolutely amazing. I love this one. A slightly longer novella that I also read for that was Tale of Two Cities by Alexandra Warren. This series has a ton of holiday novellas in it, but I read the Halloween one and I gave this one 4 stars. This was so good, and I have already downloaded the Thanksgiving one because I loved this book a lot. This is following our heroine, who is traveling to a joint bachelorette party for one of her best friends in Las Vegas, and she has a romance with one of the groomsmen. This has amazing co-parenting in it. It has a really steamy romance. It has caretaking. This does end on like a happily for now, but I would 100% read a full-length novel with these characters because it was so good. Then I read That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming, and this is book 2 in Mead Mishaps. I think that's the name of the series. And this is a werewolf romance, and our heroine accidentally throws a love potion and hits a werewolf, and it is their fated mates, or is it romance? And our heroine is trying to lift the curse off the werewolf to discover if his feelings are just the love potion or if they really are fated mates. And I have such a good time with this series. I love the world, I love the humor, I love the romances. It's a really good time. It's kind of a medieval-esque setting, but with monsters. And I really love it. I love Kimberly Lemming's humor and writing. This also has fantastic audiobooks, so I really liked this. I really hope we get more books in the series. And then lastly, for that vlog, I read Hallows Grove by Leisha Ko, and I gave this one like 4.5 stars. This was another novella, but it was a little bit longer, and this was so fantastic. Absolutely loved this book. It is ridiculously steamy. It had a really good take on the best friend's brother romance. I feel like often I don't understand one, why they didn't get together, and there's too much like tension and angst surrounding the fact that it is like her best friend's brother, and this one didn't do any of that. So in this one, the heroine and the hero have always kind of had a thing for each other, but the hero is 3 years older than her. And so when they met as teens, that 3 year difference was kind of a big deal, especially as he got older. So, you know, when he's 19, she's only 16. And so, like, that age gap is pretty important. And so he always ended up keeping her at arm's length by playing these pranks on her. And so she eventually thought that he just really didn't like her. And as they got older, she got into a really serious long-term relationship. And so he just kind of backed off. Now they are older and the age gap isn't important, and she is no longer in a committed relationship. And he decides that now is the time to act on his feelings. They are helping out his sister as she is throwing this murder mystery party for her employees who absolutely hate each other. And it is a really, really steamy night between our heroine and our hero. Our hero is a pleasure dom, and it delivered. This book delivered on the steamy scenes. I was blown away. This book was so good. Cannot wait to read more books in this world because this was fantastic. And then getting into the full-length novels, I read Always Practice Safe Hacks by Juliet Cross. This is book 4 in the Stay a Spell series, and this is following Livy, and she has the ability of persuasion, and she doesn't use it in her like marketing abilities, but it does like help her in her marketing abilities because she understands how to influence people. And because of that, she is very good at her job. And she is in this marketing competition, and she is up against one of her rivals, Gareth, who is a Grimm. And the two of them have an enemies slash rivals to lovers romance, and it is so fantastic. I gave this book 5 stars. I've given every book in the series 5 stars. I don't think it's possible for a book in the series to get anything other than 5 stars. I love this family. I love these characters. I love this world and setting and just everything about it. And I was so glad that we finally got more information on the Grimms because they are like the one supernatural that we pretty much knew nothing about. And so we finally got some insight into them and like what and who they are and like what abilities they have and all of those things, and it was so fantastic. I just really loved their enemies to lovers romance. I loved the tension and the angst between them, and it was so good. And then the final 3 books are all part of the Criminal Intention series, which get used to there being a lot of these in my wrap-ups because I am now 3 more books into the series, but I read The Man with the Glass Eye, which I gave 4 stars, and then Changing Faces and It's Witchcraft, I both gave 5 stars. And this is the Criminal Intention series by Cole McCade. This series is my entire personality. No, I'm sorry, but it is. I am so completely invested in this series. I would live and die for these characters at this point. I am just I need everyone to read this series because it is so fantastic. I can't really talk about the plot too much anymore in here. While these are episodic and like each of the mysteries is its own standalone, there is overarching plot across all of these. The like romance aspects and the relationships and things like that are all spoilery at this point. We're getting more romantic as we go, and I'm living for it. The tension between these 2 characters, the mutual pining, the messiness of them is just, it is so, so fantastic. In It's Witchcraft, there is a scene on the roof where our 2 main heroes are having a discussion, having a heart-to-heart, and it is one of the most fantastic scenes that I've ever read. It broke me. And there is some discussion about asexuality, and I have never felt so seen in a book before. It blew me away. Like I think I reread that entire scene like 3 times before I moved on because it was just so expertly done. Yeah, I'm completely obsessed in love with these characters. I already am thinking about rereading these books, even though I haven't even finished season one yet, but I already want to reread them because some of the like discussions between these characters are just so beautiful. And that was definitely the case with these ones. And I just, if you haven't picked up the series, please give it a try. Even if you're the type of person who says they don't like detective stories, just give this one a try because it is so well written. It has amazing relationships and plots and mysteries, and it's so good. So that is all 12 books that I read. This was a pretty quick edition since I have already talked about the majority of these books, but let me know if you have read any of these. Let me know if you've added any of these to your TBR, and I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye!